where to begin, right? So I kind of take a different approach in the fact that I'm a nerd when it comes to just the psychological aspect of consumers and what influences people to make the decisions that they do. So I do a lot of research on behavioral economics and just behavioral design and really where is our target audience as buyers and how are we reaching them? Because it's great to be on social, but if you're just posting and contributing to the noise and you're not really posting anything of value or that's going to bring them in, then it's just noise. And so a lot of times we will post things that we think is valuable, but we don't have a clue of who our target audience is. So I want to start with just what is your own social media story? And we all have our own narrative in our head. And I would assume that anyone who's on this call, you've probably already have the belief or the value that you know social media is important, but maybe not. Maybe you're still that person that's like, does it really work? And is TikTok just for the kids? And so I want to highlight this picture of the dad next to the tire. And this dad went viral on TikTok and YouTube. And all he posted about was the lessons that he was never taught because he was raised without a dad. So he teaches things like how to change a tire and how to add weight to a fishing line. And I've really coined this to social good. I really believe we can, if you choose to, and if you believe that social media can be a tool to provide value, then let's start saying, let's start spreading social good and social truth, because I get kind of bothered when people say, oh, social media is the devil or social media, this and that. And I'm like, it's really no different than money. When people say money's the root of all evil, is it? Or is it the individual that's then magnified once they have money? And so to this point, you could leverage social as a way to provide social good and give educational lessons that were never taught in school. And I don't care if it's a doctor, a lawyer, and those high C personalities that before they signed those closing papers, they're like asking you to make revisions. And it's like, hold on, it doesn't work that way. Like you have to sign the documents, just sign and date. But they don't know these things. They don't understand how money works. And they don't teach it in the school system. So where do we actually have to begin? Before you start your strategy, I want y'all to realize that, yes, we're in a market shift just with housing, but we're also in a massive marketing shift. And what I mean by that is and I won't bore y'all with all of the history, but the first shift is the end of lies. And it's that whole snake oil where it used to be, you'd see these ads with these great taglines that would be like, take this magic pill, you'll lose 30 pounds in 2 minutes. And you had no idea what was in the pill. There was no agencies that monitored marketing, and people just got tired of the lies. And that's what brought us to the next rebellion or the next shift, which is the end of secrets. And that was because of the internet, the evolution of the internet, and the fact that McDonald's could claim X, Y, and Z on these commercials, and they used to own the space, or anyone who did advertising, but they didn't have employees or disgruntled employees that would then say, oh yeah, this is what actually goes on in the kitchen. And so because of the internet and how easy it was to write blogs and get stuff out, we then saw the next kind of shift, which was called the end of secrets. And a lot of that was because of the internet. And now what we are currently in is the end of control. And I share that with you all because your social media is not just for brand awareness or exposure or credibility, but also what if, and we all have these clients, like we can't make everybody happy. And it's not always true, which is what's also super annoying. But someone could make a comment or they could say a review and say that your service was horrible. And if you don't have anything else to flush out that noise, then people are left to assume or believe the comments or things that are shared about you by that one possibly delusional or crazy client that you have. So it's also brand protection and brand management. So I just wanted to kind of poke holes in that and get you to really think of what is it that you choose to believe about social media, and is it actually true? Because if that belief isn't there, then everything else I share with you all today is not going to matter, because it's probably stuff that you've heard in a certain way. But in order for you to take action, we've got to at least flesh out, do you actually believe in the power of social media? Tom Brady's a great example of having a personal brand along with a business brand. And this is probably the number one question I get asked is, should you have a business or personal account? And I'm always going to say both, because you can monetize your personal brand just like Tom Brady did. It didn't matter when he left New England, whether you like him or not. People followed him because of the brand character that he represents. And he then went to Tampa Bay and won again. And so now that has created other brand deals where he now has Brady brand and a nutrition line and other fitness things. And you could do that as well. But the personal brand is always going to be bigger than the business brand. So for example, Instagram, my Deborah A. Byrd personal account, which is really a creator account, I could post the exact same content on that page versus my business page. And I'm most likely going to get more engagement on the human personal side. I don't always share everything on my business account because I'm trying to really teach the algorithm who my ideal audience is on the business sites. First things first, where do you start? If you're overwhelmed, you know you need to do social, but how do you even get started? This is what most people don't talk about enough, is we've got to talk about strategy first. Like what is, and I don't care what the answer is to this, I don't judge in any way, and I've heard multiple different responses, but what is your true purpose with being on social? And it could be maybe you're trying to go more consumer direct. You want the leads. Maybe it's more relational based where you just want that social proof because you have a referral based business. And when someone's given your name, and guys, 43% of the buyers, the 2022 NAR report was just released, 43% are millennials. And millennials, the psychology of millennials is they need validation for everything. So if they're given a name, the word of mouth referral just isn't enough anymore. They're going to go online, they're going to search you, and they're going to judge you. And they're going to judge you for two things: warmth and competency. Can I trust this person? Will they protect my self-interest because they don't care about you? But does she or he make me feel safe and secure enough to now contact you? And it can be a very misleading metric because it may not show on an Excel document of where your leads come from. But how do you measure the metric that created the influence to get them to have the courage to contact you in the first place? And if you don't have a social presence, then you're choosing to leave that narrative or that story for them to create. And guys, people are not logical. We're emotional beings. And they could create the story of, I go online to find you, you're not there. So I'm thinking, oh, well, maybe he got out of the business. I know rates went up. Maybe he's just not doing it anymore. And I go to the next person. And so how else do you control that narrative unless you consistently post and just choose to share the things that, you know, if someone were to land on your feed and scroll for a couple feet, because that's what they're going to do. They're not going to necessarily like or comment or follow, because God forbid that would be creepy. And remember, they're thinking validation, approval. They don't want to be creepers. So they're most likely not going to follow, and they're not probably going to like or comment. And so and a lot of that is due to when social came about and you had the social apps. It's kind of like a child. When your child takes their first step, you're like, yay, you took your first step. I'm so excited. But if I were to walk into my mom's house today, do you think she's like, yay, I'm so excited, you're walking on 2 feet? Like, no, the hand claps go away. And that's kind of what's happened over time with social, and the adoption of social is people just aren't really giving out likes and comments as much anymore, because it's almost like implied that it's good. So I know others have shared this before. Don't allow that metric to be your measurement for success, which is why, going back to purpose, why are you on social media? What is your big goal? How are you going to execute the things that we shared today? You may be someone who's more like KT and you have the personality and you're a little goofy, and that is true and authentic to who you are at the core. You could be someone like me who's a little, I like to color outside the lines, and I have a few curse words that I share every once in a while, and I like to use comedy and memes as well. And then you have people like my sister who, she's telling me before every podcast, like, please no cursing, and, kind of being my mom, where her brand is a little bit more polished and poised. And so it doesn't matter, but you have to get really clear on making sure that your goal and vision with your social and your business is aligned with what you're choosing to commit to doing. Because if it doesn't align, then that is the number one reason why most people quit. Like they'll get into doing those daily commitments or activities, and then they just stop because they don't see how it fuels a bigger purpose. So just because I have permission to share with Denise, I know for her, our upbringing and kind of our story it was a very difficult childhood. I'll just say that. And so she is really passionate about educating people of how to really build wealth through real estate, how to help guide people to make more informed decisions, not just at the time of the transaction, but before, during, and after. And so it's really easy for her to show up and to educate because it aligns with that core value of why she's doing what she's doing in the first place. And I'll also say, and this is kind of a hard truth to swallow, but if you're one, and it's okay, we've all been there, if you're worried about how you look or how you sound, know that that is you focused on yourself, and that's ego getting in the way. So if you have to take a sticky note and write out the word ego in all caps and put a big X over E and just go, if your motive is pure and the content you're creating is to either bring joy or empower or inspire or teach, whatever it may be, if it's truly focused on others, which it should be, then you're not holding yourself back, worried about what are my parents going to think? What will my friends think? What, like, people can mute you, they can restrict you, they can block you. Guess what? If someone puts a nasty comment on a post, you can delete it if you want. I always like to respond and just keep the engagement going because I'm secure enough to know that not everyone's going to like me and not everyone may agree with me, but I value my opinion more than allowing somebody else to keep me playing small. So, and I also share that just with extreme empathy because it took me a while. My social story and relationship with social was a tough one. It would bring out certain things that triggered me, or it showed where I needed personal growth. And so I will always be grateful for social in that standpoint. So start with strategy. What is the real reason you want to be on social, and how are you going to measure the success for you? Then we got to look at process, because this is probably the second most challenging part, is how do you create a systematic process that's going to help create, consume, and engage on social. So I love the idea of having themed days. It's kind of like when you go to the gym, which I haven't been in a while, but when you do go to the gym and you're like, where do I start? You know, your body's going to be sore, but you see all these machines and all these weights, and it's like, all right, Monday is back and buys. Tuesday is chest and tries. Wednesday is cardio. So I'm always sick cardio day on Wednesdays. Not really, but theme your day. So Mondays, I tell my clients, should be video recording days. You're going to set an hour appointment with yourself. You're going to call it marketing appointment, not video marketing appointment, because you'll hit snooze most likely. And you've got to theme out your day. So I have a whole content calendar around that to make sure that it is strategic with the buyers of today's market. But then where can you leverage and automate during the process? So I'm talking about the lowest dollar producing activities. Where can you invest in either a team? Like, this is what we do personally at Plug and Play SM is, and depending on the package, like we end up doing all the clicks for them. We create the content, the graphics, the captions. All we want them to do is the things that we can't do for them, which is be the video, unless you have an identical twin. A little bit of an advantage there. But so then let's go to systems. So then how are you going to implement the process based off the commitments that you are making to yourself for strategy? So we have a scheduling tool that's backed by artificial intelligence and machine learning that every type of post you could make, it could be a graphic with a long caption and no hashtags. It could be a 7-second video with a question and hashtags. It could be a longer video. We have a tool that we sell that you literally just click and drag and drop. It's really that easy. And it will read the type of post with all platforms that you're connected to. And we do post on all of them. And it'll take the AI to see when your audience is most active so that the post goes out at the right time. And that's really critical because I see people and I know it's probably because they're having to manually post. And if you're manually posting, you're probably leaving one of the platforms out, when if you have the right tool that's backed by the right process, why wouldn't you be on every platform every day if you only had to make one click? Like, that one post was then multiplied for you, and it's reading when your audience is active so that you can be everywhere. And the reason why I differ on this a little bit, why I tell people they should be everywhere every day is because, like all the stuff with TikTok right now, in case you don't know, it could be shut down. Like the COO was just in trial again with it's owned by China. And so the US is really concerned about how they're using that data. And whatever your beliefs are about TikTok, if your business is only on TikTok and that goes away, then what else do you have? So there's enough of the platforms where if you're on everything every day, not everybody's going to see on all platforms what you're posting because there's too many posts made every single second that you maximize the tools. I want you to pull up your phone, okay, and you're going to go to settings, the settings icon. Okay? Everyone at settings? Then I want you to go to battery. It's the green guy, it looks like this in your settings. So you're going to go to battery. And then I want you to switch the screen or this button and click last 10 days. And then I want you to scroll down just a bit and look at this number here. This shows you your average screen time. So did you know that most people spend 7.5 hours a day on all digital media, not just social media, podcasts, all digital media. And if you think about it, I mean, people, it's the new TV and radio. I mean, I've even seen people who have Hulu, and I'm guilty, or Netflix streaming in the background, and I'm still scrolling, watching KT on TikTok, laughing, and realize it's 4 a.m. and my alarm goes off in 2 hours. But just look at this. And then you can also see what percentage of the apps are you using? Like, where is your time actually going? So if you are the one saying, I don't have time, let's just call BS on that, because I'm sure, and I could be mistaken, you probably have time, you're just not making the time to do it. How do we get to the point where you are using social media and not allowing it to use you? So this is where we've got to be strategic with our time. And I am someone that is really big on the cost of your time and even the cost of someone's attention. So how could you get started right now, even if you're a little uncomfortable on social and you may not be ready to do video, but you need to do something different? Here are like 2 tips I would give right now. The first one is adding the birthdays from Facebook. In case you didn't know this, you can add that widget. And I'm not going to play this video just for the sake of time, but I can show you where you can go to see this video, which is just on my Instagram account. If you click my Linktree handle, I have a little tutorial of exactly how to add your Facebook birthdays from the click of a button, guys. Like I have a widget and it looks like right now it says 5 and it has a little birthday cake. If I just tap that button, it immediately takes me straight to my Facebook birthdays for the day. But this is where you can be intentional of, if it's somebody's birthday, how difficult is it when it's now just a tap to be able to write happy birthday? And what would be even better is if you then go to Messenger, because that's where the conversion happens. That simple. That engagement, when you do that, what the algorithms pick up on is that you guys have a relationship. So this is like my sniper move of who do I want to be in relationship with, that if I'm liking and commenting on their account, my content will naturally be seen more so than others. And if you've ever been on Instagram or Facebook and you see the little story icons at the top, and you may wonder, why do I always see the same people highlighted when I have 5,000 friends? It's because it's typically those that you've been commenting or DMing, and the system knows that there's a relationship. So how do you apply this to get super intentional of prospecting the right referral sources, but leveraging social? Well, so this would be homework assignment number 2. So after you get your birthdays on your home screen using the new iPhone widget, now you can set up your favorites feed. So in case you didn't know, there was an update, and both Facebook and Instagram have an option where you can toggle back and forth, and you can be on just the normal feed, or you can click the arrow and say, go to your favorites feed, and it's only going to show you people that you have selected as a favorite. So again, it goes to, how do I be strategic with who I'm going to nurture so that I can be top of mind even when I make content and when I post content organically? Or take your I call it a hit list, which is a horrible name for it, but I add them to my favorites feed. So now when I'm doing, and it takes 20 minutes 20 minutes a day. And I know this because this is our top package. It's called the influencer package. We do this for our influencer clients. Every day we log in as them and we do 20 comments, 20 likes, 20 DMs, and wish all their friends happy birthday Monday through Friday. And I time my people, and it should only take 20 minutes. And you can do it in 20 minutes when you change your feed to favorites feed, and it's only showing you your target accounts. And it could be partners that are already sending you business, could be recruits that you're trying to recruit if you're a team lead, or it's people that you're hoping to earn their business over time. So you just like and comment and make it a goal. It's a non-negotiable commitment. And so why not be intentional while leveraging social? And this is an easy way to do that. So Facebook, you can have up to 30 people in your favorites feed. Instagram, you can have up to 50. So leverage those and make the commitment that you're going to do 20 comments on other posts. And it doesn't have to be business related. In fact, it's usually better when it's not. Like if someone makes a post of a sunset, say beautiful sunset. And it's just, it's a relationship, guys. So you interact just like you would with any other relationship. I call it online flirting, even though I'm not talking about that type of flirting. And remember, at a time when comments and likes are going away, it's just non-existent, really. Just people just don't do that as often. You really get visible and you stay top of mind of someone who's coming from contribution when you're uniquely seeing others. They appreciate that. So use this beyond just, text or email marketing. This is a way to keep it human centric. So those two items, I want you to put that on your to-do list after this class. What to say? I'm going to tell people you need to start with flushing out the fear-based headlines in the market today, which is causing buyers to be insecure. It's causing them to stall. And so let's just, this is a graphic that you could use as a green screen, and let's just help educate through consistent messaging our spheres of, what? This is in October 2015. Look at what the headline said. A bubble larger than 2006. Let's look at the next year. Let's look at 2017, 2018. And you debunk the headline news with actual facts and data. Because that is the other item that we're competing against, is because of the different rebellions that we've had or shifts with marketing, people just don't believe what you say. I know it's shocking, but the moment it feels like marketing or it feels like you're selling, people are turned off by that and they're skeptical, because by default, we just don't trust anymore. And, really with COVID and the elections, why would people be super trusting? Or they've clicked on that, bait and switch where I could lose 20 pounds and using this, thing you wrap around your stomach that's going to make your muscles bigger, like all that stuff. It's like people are just, they're over it. Or you have the younger ones, like the Gen Zs, who were born with pretty much an iPad in their hand, and they are immune to marketing. Like there is no amount of marketing material that's going to cause them to then click and buy, because that's the other item that we're seeing, numbers increase is the number of people who are willing to pay for ad blocking services. Like they don't want to be marketed to. They don't want the bullshit. They want truth. And the only way to show truth is with data. Okay. So that is my point of this example here, is how can you use truth in numbers to help fight things like these 9 topics here? These are all topics that could then be a social post for you. Inflation. How does inflation impact interest rates? The Federal Reserve. What happens when they increase the BIPs? Recessions. Are we headed in a recession? What does recessions do to home prices? What does it do to interest rates? Do you have the slides and the data to back it up? Do you have screenshotable content? These are just some of the different slides that we have then created into social proof. Obviously, we make them look a lot prettier than this, but these are just quick examples of how we educate the overcoming of the common objection still of, I'll just wait to buy. I'll wait till rates come down. I'll wait until the market crashes. Like they don't have this data to back up their opinion of why it may actually be better, depending on your market, to buy now. Like this is when you should be excited to re-enter the market, because there ain't a better time that you're going to be able to negotiate on a deal right now. And if you wait like what everybody else is doing and interest rates come down and you have the spring home buying season picking up, then it's going to be right back into another buyer frenzy where people are having to go 100,000 over asking. And, what's your opportunity cost of waiting? So these are just, different examples that you could use. Just making sure that you have your account set up and your account basics complete, because this is also it's kind of a pet peeve of mine, but it's one of the biggest missed opportunities, because some will start paying for social media help, or they're creating content but they haven't optimized their bios or their account for conversion or optimization for that matter. So this is just screenshots of exactly how you can do this, and I'll just go through it kind of quickly. um, First thing is, you want to make sure by default on Instagram, in case you didn't know, if you go to settings, so if you open up Instagram, you go to settings, then you go to account. You want to then go to data usage. You want to make sure you turn on the upload quality setting. So it's a little toggle that looks like this. By default, it's turned off. So if you've ever wondered why, like maybe you may have HD cameras and it looks a little fuzzy when you post, chances are you may not have this turned on. So this is just an account setting basic that you could go in right now and fix, because Instagram is the most particular on the quality. The other platforms aren't really as particular, but Instagram is. So make sure that that is toggled on. The next thing you should look at is, what type of account do you have? There's really no reason why any of us should have a personal private account. I mean, why be a secret? Unless you want to be a secret LO, but I don't think if you're attending this today, you choose to be a secret LO. But even if you have a crazy spouse or ex-spouse, not crazy spouse, maybe you have a crazy spouse, crazy ex-spouse, or, just someone that's a nuisance, just block them. You can block them. But you really should have a professional account. And when you go through these steps, which again, how you verify is, you'll go to Instagram, you'll go to settings, you go to account, you're going to go scroll all the way down, and in blue, it'll say switch account type. If you don't already have it set up as a business professional account, then it's going to say, do you want to switch it? And you have two options. You either are going to have a business professional account or a business creator account. There's pros and cons to each. I always tell people it's up to you to choose which one you want. I will tell you that you're really are supposed to have a professional business account. The problem with that is you have more limitations, just a little bit, than the creator account. Limitations meaning, like, you can't post some of the trending audio that's not licensed audio. And that's to protect the business, because if you're using it for business purposes, then it doesn't want you to get sued. So if you have a creator account, it'll allow you to use any and all trending audios, because it's assuming you're a content creator and you're willing to take that risk on yourself. The other big difference is, you cannot use third-party scheduling tools like mine, where you can pre-schedule out your content unless it's a professional business account. So just, kind of goes back to leveraging your time and your task. You want to make sure that when you are recording video, that you're using 1080p at least, or HD. That way it's not fuzzy. And guys, a lot of the videos that you see on my own social, I'm using a webcam and Zoom. Like, that's how most of you already have Zoom, or you could use StreamYard and a webcam. So you could use AirPods if you want, but like, you don't need it if you're this close, and you can record in HD and make sure that it's saving in HD. So depending on if you work for a bank or credit union, where maybe you can't save things to like a Google Drive, or it alters your settings, you're just going to want to make sure that you don't lose that HD quality. And then let's talk about optimizing your bio. When it comes to optimizing your bio, so once you have those account settings complete, here's what I want you to do when you're auditing your account. And you can do this for all social platforms. When you're looking at auditing your account, your pool of people, the number of people in your area who are interested in buying a home right now, who are on social, what are the chances or likelihood of, like, let's say if the pool's this big and you get 30 views on that video, and I post a personal development quote on my personal account and I get 100,000 views, which one's worth more? Well, personal development is a much broader pool of people. So when you look at the ratio, that is why I have a personal account, because It's really like hot mess express, to be perfectly honest. The algorithm has no idea who my ideal client is because I don't have one on my personal account. I'm just sharing. It's my art, it's my expression. I share what comes to my head and I post. But you have to keep in context because context matters. That if you make a post and it only gets 30 views, well, that's a big deal because that means those 30 views are of people right now today who are even thinking about mortgage, which is just small right now. And then if you had to dollarize the fact of if you had to make 30 phone calls, like how long would it take you to make 30 phone calls versus one video that then you upload? And that's just talking about one medium. So when you're looking at setting up your Instagram, I want you to apply the same filter as you would with a website. So you have like this is called highlights. These highlights are like your landing pages to your current website. Maybe you have reviews, maybe you have loan programs, maybe some behind the scenes or like client stories, first time homebuyer stories, reverse mortgage, whatever it may be. These are the new playlist, although they're called highlights, that's binge worthy content that when someone lands on your feed, you may have a great post, but it was like 2 months ago. Ain't no one's going to be scrolling all the way down looking to hopefully try to find that one post that they may be looking for. So if I'm a first time home buyer, I see that you have a playlist or a highlight of all first time home buyer tips. Well, then I can just click in the highlight and I can get lost in that playlist and it's binge worthy content that keeps them focused on what they find valuable for them. So that's the first part, is make sure that you have your highlights set up. And if you have your business account, you can then add a link. And this is why you'll see it in captions when people are on Instagram and you say, click the link in my bio. That's because Instagram doesn't allow you to have an actual link that you can click in the caption part. So Linktree is a free service that's great because it makes it, I'll just show you what it looks like. People don't, they're lazy. They don't want to look and navigate a website where they're like, where's the apply now button? This makes it very easy for people to contact you. I would highly recommend you have join our email list. That way you're converting people who are on social because you don't own your social media. It's an extension of your database. Ask these guys and why they created an app. You still need to be on it for social proof, but you don't own it. And if you get shut down or it's taken away, what do you have? So make sure you have ways to optimize and convert, like having a link tree where people can follow you on any other social account that they need, or they can be added to your email list. And this is where, because I know I've got like 1 minute left. If you need help on how to set up your favorite feed on Instagram or Facebook, this is where you do that here. And these are just my little tutorial videos that I knew we wouldn't have time to go through today. And there's even a video that talks about how to make sure your accounts are optimized.